It's Thursday, June the 9th. Lake level's 921 and a half. It's come down about a foot or so since fishing report last week. Each day seems to be coming down a few inches. But the water temperature, it's right around the mid 70s, and later in the day it's getting a little bit warmer. A lot of different things going on the lake. I think the lake, as far as the boat traffic, is maybe it's the price of gas, I don't know, but it's really been, I think, quiet for this time of year. So it's been pretty nice out there fishing. Like I say, hadn't been a ton of boat traffic, but there's still a good early bite. There's still a lot of shad spawning, which, normally that shad spawn doesn't last too long, but I think with a lot of these cooler nights, it's kind of prolonged it. But you'll see shad, grouped up early in the morning around some of these boat docks, the deeper boat docks. Some of them will be up there shallow on the edge of the bushes. So if you can find where these shad are real active the first couple hours of the morning, and even throughout the day, if it stays overcast, you can get on a real good topwater bite. And I've been using like a Berkeley surge shad quite a bit. And another thing that's been working quite a bit is I got a couple of these last fall. They were a prototype from Spro. It's called a Cyclone Junior. And it's really an awesome bait. I only have 2 of them, but I understand that they got them in the States now, and they should be hitting all the regional and local tackle stores here pretty quick. So if you come across them, you want to check them out. It's a Cyclone Junior. I did a little video on them last year, which I'll probably going to repost, but it's an awesome bait. You can work it like a buzz bait. You can work it like a whopper plopper, reeling it steady, or popping it like a popper. And it's been working real good for me up around the bushes. Some days the fish seem like they want a slower presentation, so instead of like a buzz bait, you got to keep it moving all the time. If I find I'm getting a few bites on the buzz bait, the fish are slapping at it and not eating it, I'll pick this up, kind of throw it in the same area. But with this, I can do a stop and go retrieve. Where the buzz bait, it'll sink, but this will stay up and float. And if you get a chance, to find some, I've only got 2 colors, and I've got the white that I throw early in the morning or in low light, and the bait really works good when the sun's out too. But on the sunny days, I've been throwing more of this translucent one. But if you get a chance, check them out. It's a Cyclone Junior by Spro. Like I said, also I've been throwing a black buzz bait, and I've been throwing a 1/4 ounce or 3/8 ounce big bite. Now, the buzz bait I'm throwing primarily around the submerged cover, around the bushes, around the trees. This little Cyclone Junior, I'll throw it there as well, but it's also a real good bait for the open water. There's been a lot of fish coming up schooling in the morning. Been some white bass mixed in with them. There's been some Kentuckys, largemouths, even smallmouths, a little bit of everything on top. It doesn't work every day in every spot I go to. You gotta search around. I'll go to an area if I'm not seeing any kind of bait activity or feeding activity for 15-20 minutes. I'll go try another area. And now with all this forward facing sonar with the live scope, you don't only have to visually see it. You can scan around with your live scope and see if there's bait down there 10 or 15 feet. If I see that, I'll spend a little bit more time. Another bait that's been working in the same areas, sometimes they'll come up busting, only stay up for 15-20 seconds and go back down. And you'll see them go down there sometimes 15-20 foot. I've been throwing some spoons, a white spoon. I've been throwing like a Dixie Jet 1/2 ounce or 3/4 ounce flutter spoon. Or if the fish go down a little bit deeper, I'll throw a 3/4 to 1 ounce, just a slab spoon. And I'm working the spoon real aggressively once it gets down to that depth. And then yo-yoing it back to the boat. Them fish that are out there suspending around some of them docks, you can pick them up on a spoon. And even later in the day, my bottom bite, it seems like there's more and more fish moving out there a little bit deeper on structure, whether it's in the Kimberling City or the dam area or up in the river arms. Normally this time of year I'd be concentrating on the river arms because there's better color. But right now, they've moved so much water through the lake that the color up there, you know, pretty close to the dam in Kimberling City, it's every bit as much color as there is in the James and up in Long Creek. So a lot of the deep crankbait bite, the things, the Carolina rig bite, football jig that would normally work up in the river arms, it's working down lake as well because the water's stained. But it's been a good drop shot bite. It's getting, you know, stronger and stronger each day as more and more fish move out. Like I say, there's still a shallow bite if your person wants to stay shallow all day. Down by the dam and around Kimberling, you can fish outside the edges of the bushes with tube baits like a green pumpkin or a puke colored. Fish from the bushes up to about 15 to 20 feet. Or you can get right in the heart of the bushes. And I've been flipping like a 5-fish ultimate cover jig in there. And I was primarily flipping more creature baits like beaver styles, brush hogs. But I'm starting to get, you know, a little bit more bites on a jig than I am the creature baits for some reason. But it seemed like a couple of weeks ago, all I could get bit on was creature bait. Now I'm seem to be getting a little bit more on the jig. But as far as out there drop shotting, we're drop shotting a lot of them long flat gravel points, anywhere from 25 to, like today we got out as deep as 50 foot, but the fish were only, you know, 25 foot deep. And a KVD Dream Shot, Morning Dawn's working real well, and the 2 chompers worms. These are about the only 3 that I throw. I know there's a bunch of other ones that'll work, but usually if they won't bite the plum, then I'll throw the brown purple laminated. You know, and I was talking about the fish being suspended, you know, where the boat's sitting in 40 or 50 feet of water. And a lot of times what I'll do, you know, I'm fishing a drop shot on a spinning rod, but I can show you on a bait caster. You don't have to have the high dollar electronics, you know, to drop shot. Basically, if you've got a graph on your boat that'll tell you how deep it is, you can take it out there to about 25 foot, drop your drop shot down till it hits bottom, and I take a black Sharpie and I just color my line for about a foot or 2. So that way there, when I'm out over 50 foot, I don't have to count the lure down to a certain depth. I can just open the bail on the spinning rod, you know, drop it down to the black mark so I know where 25 foot is. And it seems like not all the fish are in 25, some might be in 30 or 35, but by keeping it at 25, the fish that are down there a little deeper are coming up for the bait. Also on a lot of them long points, you can throw a Carolina rig. I've been throwing like salty sticks, super salty sticks like a big bite, or Zoom centipede or French fry. And even I've been throwing on a shaky head like a Magnum finesse worm, or even a bigger one yet, the Magnum trick worm. And these fish seem to be setting the boat in about 30 feet. And also in them same areas, you can throw a football jig, a wobblehead, a lot of different baits you can throw, you know, on the bottom. But I'm setting the boat in about 35 feet and trying to cover from that, you know, 18 to 25 foot depth. And I'm doing that more after 9 o'clock or so, once that sun gets up and the shallow bite gets a little tougher. The shallow bite seems to be best early. And once the sun gets up and you start getting a little boat traffic, it seems like the bite's a little bit better out there deeper. But, you know, there's a lot of different bites going on. You know, they bite the deep crankbait good, like around the Kimberling City area, up in the James, up in Long Creek. I hadn't been up into Kings River at all, but I would assume that everything that's going on in the other river arms is happening up there too. Now, I was up in the Upper White last weekend, and we seemed like we really struggled there. Now, you'll have, not every day is really good, you know, naturally one day, some days are a lot better than the other. But if you just keep mixing it up, the fish are feeding better and better. I feel like they're getting done spawning, they're rested up, so they're more feeding now for the summertime, and they seem to be progressively working out a little bit deeper each day, except for the fish that are up in the bushes. As the water drops, I think we're still really going to have a good flipping bite for quite a while. It depends on the water level, how fast they pull it down. But I mean, we'll have water in the bushes for a couple weeks till they get the lake, back down to normal power pool. Right now it's about 5.5 feet high. So what it's doing is they pull the water down, the fish that are in behind the bushes, back in some of them trees, it's pulling them out to the little bit deeper bushes where they're a little bit easy to get to. So it should, even though a lot of fish are moving out deep, I feel like there's a lot that have been in there real shallow that'll start coming out to that 6 to 8, 10-foot line where them bushes are there. So it should be a good flipping bite for a couple weeks yet to come. Till next week, good luck, good fishing.